Hey guys, so obviously haven't put out any live streams you've seen from us. It's also Kyle talking from THPN, one of the managers here, and I'm here with Neil, who I do a lot of the live streams with. He's also Devil State of Mind podcast as well. Um, we haven't done a lot of live content recently, obviously because there was no games happening. Got a lot of stuff planned coming up for this season, but I just wanted to come on and just take a little bit of time these next 15 to 20 minutes, obviously to talk about what happened a couple of days ago with Johnny and with Matthew Gaudreau, and just mainly wanted to do it just to kind of express, our condolences to their family, and just kind of talk about, just kind of celebrate their lives, and memories that that was left behind. Uh, Being a Flames fan myself, it was shocking. I don't know about you, Neil, in terms of like the whole night and morning that led up to it late last week. But for me, it was, Friday night, not really believing this stuff. You wake up the next morning and, you see this stuff become real. Um, yeah, it was very emotional the last couple of days, to be honest, and it still doesn't feel like this is something that's happened, and it's going to take a while to truly get over, right?
Yeah.
And I think, again, I don't want to ramble too long and then get all emotional again. But to be one of my favorite memories in terms of watching him just kind of grow up, within the Flames organization, and then him moving on to Columbus. Speaking of Johnny, of course, all the way back in 2011, he gets drafted. Watching him go, through the ranks and starting in his first game and all that, and you remember his first goal against Vancouver all those years ago, and then for me, the one that sticks out the most was he gave me a reason to stay up till midnight on the East Coast on my end, and I think the one that I think it sticks out for a lot of Flames fans was the Game 7 goal against Dallas in overtime back in, I think that was 2019, and waking everybody up at midnight, screaming, going crazy. Um, as much as it's sad and it's really hurt the hockey community, and I can tell you that it's hurt a lot of our fans too as well, and a lot of our guys within the community, within THPN. Everybody's kind of just reeling from this, but just wanted to come on and just you know celebrate the life really, and just kind of feed off some core memories. So obviously there was that one. Neil, I know he wasn't necessarily with you guys on a team and all that, but take us through kind of what your thoughts were throughout the whole thing, and the emotions, and any memories you have on your end.
Yeah, I mean, Thursday night I was on the way home from Rutgers football games, their season opener. College football is back, and I'm excited about that, obviously. And I saw the tweet, the tweet from that account that said that Johnny Gaudreau and his brother were in a tragic, car accident. Um, and you're spending a lot of time on Twitter looking and saying, is this real? Is this not real? Like, you're not sure. And then there were other people that were coming out saying, like, you can't be putting stuff out here when you don't have all the facts, like all that stuff. So I went to bed kind of in this unknown. And by the time I woke up the next day, I had gotten about 7 or 8 notifications to confirm that he and Matthew, his brother, had passed away. And yeah, I mean, it was very sad, very, very sad, very tragic, something that should have never happened. And especially when you get the details of how it ended up happening, and with the driver, and, he was intoxicated, reportedly, all that different stuff. Um, I said this to a lot of people, that it was a tragedy and that should have never happened. And you could say that about every tragedy. It should just never happen. And I think what's harder is, in general, you obviously feel for the families, you feel for everybody who's involved. But then when you add on the fact that both Johnny Gaudreau and his brother Matthew were at home because their sister was going to be married the following day, last Friday, and they were to be groomsmen, I mean, it's just a horrific situation altogether. And I understand why people might say, oh, they should have continued and done the wedding anyway. Johnny and Matthew would have wanted. look, in that situation, emotionally, you're not thinking about anything else other than the fact that you have just lost two of your brothers, two of your sons, whatever the case may be. And so I totally understood why their sister decided to cancel the wedding, and they're going to focus on a different day at a different time when things are a lot more settled, because obviously it's still been less than a week since this happened. Um, and you know, from a devil's perspective, look, say what you want about what happened to your, about 3 years ago now, with Gaudreau spurring the Devils at the last moment to then sign with the Columbus Blue Jackets, and how much the Devils fan base as a whole was upset about it, angry, pissed off, heckled Johnny Gaudreau any chance he get, made fun of him every time the Blue Jackets, and he as well didn't do well. Because there were periods of time where Gaudreau definitely struggled in his short time, unfortunately, in Columbus, but at the end of the day, when something like this happens, we all come together. And I think that's what's great about the hockey community is that it's small, but everybody comes together. Everybody supports one another. To see the GoFundMe page for Matthew and his wife and their soon to be born child to get over, I think it was like $500,000 in less than 24 hours, I think is showing you right then and there just how impactful the hockey community can be. And I also want to give credit to a lot of sports franchises and media out there that had nothing to do with hockey. MLB, so many different things that gave time to give a moment of silence for something like this. It does hit a little bit for me personally because he is both of these guys are born and bred New Jersey kids. Yes, they grew up Flyer fans. I understand they're from South Jersey, but still, they're from New Jersey. And so for this whole state, it hits you hard because it's two well known people that were tragically killed in a situation. And even if they weren't, even if it wasn't those two that lost their lives, you're still dealing with two people that lost their lives unnecessarily. And I think that's the sad thing, regardless of the situation. So, yeah, very sad, very emotional watching a lot of the tributes that a lot of different people put out there. The Blue Jackets themselves, the Flames put out a great one. Um, I think one of the Gaudreau's sisters put out something that was really great. Both wives put out stuff. Um, I think seeing Kevin Hayes post a little thing about make sure you say hi to Bo's dad, Jimmy Hayes,
Mhm.
was very impactful. Seeing a lot of different teammates of players and everything, and it's just it's a sad day in the hockey world, and I feel mostly I feel really, really bad for the Columbus Blue Jackets franchise and their fan base because they're still reeling from the tragedy of Kiwi Link's, what was it, 2 years ago at this point? 3 years?
Give or
Not
take. Yeah.
give or take, when he lost his life due to a firework incident on the 4th of July a couple of years ago. And now you have to deal with this. So you've lost two guys that have been a part of your organization. And I think what makes it tough, really hard with Johnny Gaudreau is that he was the first true star that chose Columbus, wanted to go there, wanted to be a part of the organization, wanted to be a part of this family. And even though the Blue Jackets have gone through a lot of tough times right now, especially in terms of wins and losses and their rebuilding, it felt good to have somebody that wanted to be there long term, and they're just taken away. And so now,
Yeah.
as an organization, I don't know. I don't know where you go from here when you have this much going on. I'm not saying they're going to lose the fan base or anything, but I definitely could see how it being hard for fans maybe at times to come to games, not just obviously because the team is struggling, but certainly because of the pain that they are dealing with losing, important players over the last couple of years. Um, you know, I don't really have I don't really have like a lot. I think the one memory that sticks out to me for Johnny Gaudreau is one that's been kind of shown the last couple of days, and that was he got the primary assist on Jaromir Jagr's final goal in the National Hockey League, which is really cool.
Yeah.
When Jagr was a member of the Flames, people forget that was one of the 25 different teams that Jagr played for in his career. But that was really cool. And Jagr, obviously, he posted on his socials and he talked about it. That was probably the coolest moment, looking back on it. And Yeah, I would just say overall, again, to kind of wrap it up here, just a very sad situation overall that should have never happened. And obviously, my everybody's thoughts and prayers are with the Gaudreau family during this time, and the Blue Jackets organization, the Flames organization, as well. And just hope that obviously, you're never going to get over something like this, but that we can try to take away some of the pain and try to turn some of this tragedy into maybe some positivity down the road at some point.
I have no doubt that the fans in Columbus will come together this season, and Calgary as well too. And they'll come together, and they'll be more stronger than ever. And I think regardless of what position Columbus is in, speaking on them, they'll find a way, right?
Yeah,
And that's something that you just kind of hope for, and that there's a lot of members specifically in the NHL that were clearly very close with Johnny, even if you weren't, even wasn't a member of Calgary or Columbus, as it showed again on socials with everybody kind of coming in and
yeah,
saying their piece. I think one of them was Cole Caulfield, who clearly looked up to him when he came into the NHL, and I thought that was really touching as well.
yeah,
And you have to think a lot of the kids too, who we don't even know yet, and some of these young kids, who are undersized. They clearly had somebody to look up to, and it was Johnny. And it's such a marquee name too as well. You get the marquee for Johnny Hockey. I mean, that
of
just
course.
that comes very rare, right? And I think just overall the story that he had throughout
Yeah,
his career and his lifetime is just it's remarkable. It really is, and that's why it's sad to have this happen these first couple of days. And I think you take the approach of what Meredith posted, I think on Instagram, and the sister as well. If I apologize if I mixed them up or whatever, but what they said was that it was just a pleasure to know you for the 17 years that they were together, or at
for
least
sure.
they knew each other, excuse me. And it's to understand that it's important to just celebrate it, right? And
Yeah,
that's the hard thing about it too, when it's just so sudden and so recent. And yeah, you just want to make sure you celebrate it as much as you can, and just be grateful that we got a chance to witness this. And that's why I even posted for myself, just to thank you for being able to watch so many great games with him in it. And obviously our everybody here at THPN, our condolences are and prayers are obviously with the Gaudreau family for Johnny and Matthew at this time. Having said all that too, it's going to make ourselves here at THPN, especially myself and Dylan, after talking about it a little bit today.
if
Sorry,
you
did you
don't
want to say
mind
something?
me, before you get into that last part, I do want to
Yeah,
give also a personal, obviously, condolences to Matthew Gaudreau because, yeah, everybody's going to talk about Johnny Gaudreau and what he did in the NHL. And I want to give Matthew Gaudreau light as well because obviously he did lose his life. And yeah,
of
he did
course.
not get to the same level that his brother was at. But from all of the excerpts that I've seen and everything that I've learned about Matthew Gaudreau, he was just a good-hearted person. He worked hard every day. He came in with a smile on his face and he was so, open. There was somebody, I forgot who it was, but I saw it on Twitter, somebody who was, doing a tryout with one of the ECHL teams that Gaudreau was on. And and the guy was nervous, didn't know anybody, and the first guy that came up to him to welcome him, to ingratiate him into conversations and make him feel a part of the team was Matthew Gaudreau. And I think that that should be stated that at the end of the day, with both Johnny and Matthew, all they wanted was just the opportunity to be professional hockey players. And they both got the chance to do that at different levels, but still, nonetheless, they were able to have success either way you look at it. So I wanted to give Matthew his flowers as well because I don't want, as much as obviously the focus is going to be on Johnny, and I get that, Matthew's name should also be remembered as well and be honored as much as Johnny should because they are brothers in arms, and they're going to be brothers forever now. Um, and he deserves as well to be recognized during this time.
Very well said. Yeah, it's something you kind of you don't forget, obviously, but again, it's not brought into the light. So
Yeah,
I get it,
for
and
sure.
very rightfully so. Again, all of our condolences out there to Johnny and Matthew and his family at this time. And again, having said all that too, after talking about it with myself and Dylan this morning, both of us who run a great network with a lot of great people on it, um, gives us the chance to take a step back and really kind of look at this upcoming season as a whole and the kind of things that we want to accomplish and what we're planning on doing. And, for myself, it's, a lot of live, we're going to have a great season coming up, though. We don't want to diminish it. We're going to do a lot of live content still. I can tell you personally from my end, I will be going live for the first Flames game of the year. Obviously, when Columbus and Calgary get together for both of their meetings, I think it's only appropriate that we're going to be on there as well. And as well, too, there was I forget the names of the charitable organizations that they supported in Calgary and Columbus, but during both of those games, we're going to provide the links as well in the descriptions, and we'll let everybody know as well too through both of those games. And to make sure you guys check that out. And if you can donate what you can, we really appreciate it. But yeah, we're going to make sure we're going to do a lot. We're going to have a good season coming up. We're going to do a lot of live stuff. We'll obviously be live for the first few games of the season, but just wanted to come on here and just wanted to touch upon it and just kind of give our thoughts and prayers and again condolences to the family. And yeah, that's all for me on my end. Unless Neil had any kind of final thoughts on this. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's been
I
a
mean,
tough weekend.
for sure, for sure. It's with the excitement about we are now into September. Training camp is right around the corner. There's that excitement that the season is right here, and we finally get to kind of come out of hibernation, so to speak, and finally get ready to do hockey. I'm going to definitely try to do the live watch along for both of the first two Devils games because they will be played over in Prague, Czechia, to start the year in the NHL Global Series. Devils will be playing Lindy Ruff, of all people, their former head coach, and the Buffalo Sabres in the first two games of the year. That should be really exciting with a lot of new faces like Jacob Markstrom. Sorry, Kyle. Brett Pesce, guys like that. Obviously, with Jack Hughes and Nico Hischier and all that stuff. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. You also, as always, can check out the Devil State of Mind podcast. I just posted a tribute video myself of talking about Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Gaudreau as well. So make sure you go check it out and subscribe as well. I'm getting close to my first 100 subscribers. I need about 25 or so. So I don't mean to do a self plug here, but I'm trying to here to try to
That's okay.
help out in any way that I can. And yeah, I will be here. I will do live watch alongs, not just of the Devils. There will obviously be a lot of games, a lot of special moments, whether it's, outdoor games, doing like the 1000th Chicago Blackhawks outdoor game this year for whatever reason. We're definitely going to be doing World Juniors. I mean, why wouldn't we? It's so much more. And maybe some women's professional hockey with season number 2 coming up. And we actually will
Of
have
course.
team names this year. So I'm actually kind of curious. And we will also do videos as well on differing topics, depending on situations and everything that we'll do as well. Um, and yeah, I'm just looking forward to another exciting year at THPN, Devil State of Mind, and working with people like Kyle, who does an amazing job of getting more and more podcasts to the network, giving people the opportunity to do what they love and do it on a major, platform like this. So, but yeah, it's a tough, it's a tough period, and there's obviously going to be grieving, but with anything, um, you know, there's always light at the end of the tunnel, and there will come a time when everybody's going to be doing better and going to be looking forward towards the future and how we can better ourselves, prevent do our best to prevent situations like this. And I went into detail about that more on my podcast. But just overall, the last thing I'll leave with everybody is a simple one: make sure to spend as much time as you can with your family and friends. I know it's hard in this day and age and with work and everything like that, but make sure you can to spend some time, because you never know when it could all be taken away from you like it was with the Gaudreau family. And make sure you spend time with them. Tell them that you love them, and try to create as many memories as possible because it's important. So I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. Yeah, couldn't say it any better. Hug your loved ones. Just spend as much time with you as you can, and let's try to have a good year coming up. And yeah, we'll leave it at that for now here, though. And again, appreciate you guys just being patient with us over this last few months as well too, as we went through some changes. But yeah, we'll leave it at that for now. Myself and Neil will be back in October to do some live stuff and so much more. And we'll just enjoy the ride as we go. So thank you guys for checking this out. Again, we'll get some share with donations up ready in the links for when we go live for those games. And that's all we got. So thank you, Neil. Appreciate it. And we'll see you guys at the start of the year. And everybody be safe and stay healthy.